Up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane!
Hello, and welcome to the Off-Panel Podcast, the comic show where the tensions are high and the ink is fresh. I'm John Lees, and I'm joined tonight by Matt Johnson.
What's going on, you haggis-eating motherfucker?
That's what I like to hear. Mercy Mueller.
Hey.
Alex Campbell.
I'm a vampire.
And Sergio Martinez.
You bitch.
Oh,
You made me last. You made me last.
I didn't
Well,
even
you
know
know.
I was going to be like the second person. I had my mic muted, so I was like, gosh, dang it.
Didn't you moan about it not always being last time?
Yeah, but you could warn me next time.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Hello, and welcome to the Off-Panel
No, that was
Podcast.
fine. That was fine. Why
Yeah,
did
let's
we do
leave
it?
it that way, yeah. Let's
Yeah,
do that.
Yeah,
fine,
what's
dude.
wrong with that?
I'm going to do this all night. I have lines set up till 2 a.m. What's the intros?
That's
I
pretty
can be the
pathetic.
show.
The entire show full
I
of
was going to do the musical one night. It's like, hello and welcome to the Off-Panel Podcast.
one day.
Musical
One day.
episode, yes.
Let's just move
Okay.
If we
on.
make it to 100.
We just do the entire thing in song. Well, actually, I could do it in interpretive dance, but you wouldn't see it because it'll be through the screen. Right, okay. I've lost track of my thoughts now. Yeah, okay, since we've done like 4 intros now, we can move on with how was everyone's week?
I had a pretty good week. Nothing really big happened, so I count that as a positive.
So that's pretty good. How about you, Sergio?
Well, before the episode, for some reason, you asshole. For some reason, I got in a cleaning mode and completely reorganized most of my closet. And I actually found an empty comic book box that I can actually use for my books because I was getting crowded. So that's always awesome, Also, woot for the new Facebook page.
Oh yeah, the Facebook page. That's in case you don't know. I don't know. I think all 3 of our listeners already joined, but just in case, we've got a new Facebook page. Just search for Off-Panel Podcast on Facebook and you'll find it. You've already got a nice bunch of followers. There's lots of interaction, questions, polls. A little bit of community going on there. It's a great place to check out and get all the latest updates on the Off-Panel Podcast. So go find it, like it. It's awesome. What about you, Alex? How was your week?
I did absolutely nothing and slacked off pretty much
Jacked
everything.
off?
Jacked off, did you
Jacked
say?
off?
Well, no, I did plenty of that too, but
Did you quack off?
I have no idea what you even said.
He said, did you whack off?
I said, did you quack off?
Oh,
Quack off!
I'm
I was
quacking
going to
off
go
right
through
now.
a series of rhyming words, but I think the joke kind of fell flat. Like a metaphor for my life.
Oh, God.
No one understands me. I'm so lonely. How was my week? It was pretty good. I went to see The Muppets at long last, and it was awesome.
Good movie.
And I went to my Glasgow League of Writers meeting, which is always fun, meeting a talented bunch of people and talking comics and stuff. And I've been doing a lot of writing myself. I've made good progress on 2 different projects that I'm working on. Got some exciting news about the Standard, which I probably can't share in public, but I'll tell you guys.
So why tell us? Why tell us?
Because I'm a big fucking tease.
You just want to rub it in our noses, huh? Look at
and
you
I got- and I
motherfuckers.
got
What the
some-
fuck y'all do?
And I got some awesome art as well from other projects, which I also can't tell you about. So,
You son of a bitch.
I'm time to tease. So that was my week.
What about you, Merce?
Absolutely nothing.
I got the rest of you just hibernate all week. And then awaken at 5 to 12 or whatever time it's over there in America land.
Well, that's every week for me.
Oh no, you can't just hibernate because I do know because I've actually been listening to what you guys do in your spare time. The off-panel, not the off-panel podcast. This is the off-panel podcast. The Dark
I
Knights.
thought this was the Curtains podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, sorry to disappoint you.
I was under the impression that we talked about fucking curtains. I'm highly disappointed.
I talk about fucking curtains Saturday through Thursday. I just want one day of my week to talk comics.
Everybody needs a time to unwind. I understand.
Or unravel, if it's a curtain.
You were in the middle of praising us?
Yes, continue.
Yeah, I was talking about how awesome the Dark Knights is. I listened to a couple of the Inside the Player Studio posts, and I listened to the latest one with you two guys and Mercedes. But yeah, so it's a really fun podcast. But the thing I figured out listening to the Dark Knights is that me and Serge and Mercedes must kind of act like cock blocks for you two, because without us present, it seems like the sexual tension just goes through the roof. And I'm listening to this show thinking, when are these two just going to fuck already?
That's what we think every week.
That's our appeal, it's the whole will they, won't they kind of thing.
It's nice niche there. It's like comics podcast meets will they, won't they romance, So yeah, fun listening. I was laughing out loud at several points in the show, which is a good thing. So yeah, keep it up, guys. Good work. Check it out. It's the darknights.blogspot.com, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't ever listen to that shit. You think I listen to that?
We're also on Facebook at the Dark
podcast.
Knights, so yeah.
Yeah.
They don't even like their own page.
I like the page, didn't I? There's only like 9 people that like it. We don't have all the connections that OPP has, so fuck y'all.
I just realized we're turning into John with the standard.
Yeah, for those of you playing the drinking game at home, the standard scalped Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that was the week that was. So on to comics. What comics did everybody pick up?
I picked up several and only read about 4 of them, but I'm not upset this time because I'm playing it, loose right now.
Why is the words were never spoken?
I couldn't find a fuck Domenico.
It's not Vertigo. What? Fuck Vertigo. What?
Where the hell ever you're from?
Wherever it is. Atlantis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I read Swamp Thing issue 7, Animal Man issue 7, Action Comics issue 7, Sweet Tooth issue 31, The Manhattan Projects issue 1, and Fatale issue 3. What about everyone else?
Let's see. I'm looking. I read Amazing Spider-Man, Swamp Thing, Animal Man, Manhattan Projects, Winter Soldier, and Action Comics. I think that was all I read this week.
I read Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 8, Action Comics number 7, Uncanny X-Men number 8, Detective Comics number 7, Irredeemable number 35, Amazing Spider-Man number 681, Winter Soldier number 3, Wolverine number 302, Batwing number 7, Swamp Thing number 7, Ferris number 1, Huntress number 6 of 6, Animal Man number 7, Green Arrow number 7.
Good
and
God.
And a pear tree.
Holy cow.
You did some damn reading.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of free
What
time.
What'd you
about
read?
you, Mercy? What were you reading?
I read The Manhattan Project, Animal Man, DC Universe Online Legends, Ferris, Green Arrow, Justice League Beyond, Justice League International, Stormwatch, and Swamp Thing.
Okie doke.
Wow.
So, Serge, I'm not sure if I ever actually asked you what you get into reading after my joke.
No, I didn't mention. Okay, so I picked up Ferris number 1. I picked up Animal Man number 7, OMAC number 7, Stormwatch number 7, Swamping number 7, Huntress number 6, and Manhattan Projects number 1. But I only read Ferris, Animal Man, OMAC, and Stormwatch. We can still talk about the other 2 comics in the show because I'll still read it regardless. The other 3. I was actually.
Do you want to be spoiled?
I don't care.
All right. Well, hey, I was going to tell you he dies at the end. So.
And there's 3 books that I'm debating about picking up just to check it out because I tried them before and I feel like I should have read them but they didn't appeal to me. Defenders number 4, I think it's opening a new arc or I don't know, the solicit made it seem like it was something that I can get into because I didn't enjoy the first issue. And then I was thinking of checking out Batwing number 7 and Red Lantern number 7 because it's Guy versus the human Red Lantern, so I kind of want to see that, but I didn't pick them up yet though. So
In terms of what people read, I think a good book to actually start on, since a few of us seem to have read it, is The Manhattan Projects. What did people think about this?
Did you read it all, Mercedes? I know you said you started on it.
I stopped after page 3 because I hate the art.
Oh,
See, the art was alright. I just wasn't big on it. It seemed like it was kind of similar to what's his name? He does All-Star Superman. Frank Quitely.
yeah, reminds me of his step, definitely.
It seemed like that, but it didn't seem to be as good as what Frank Quitely does. So, but yeah, I wasn't really a fan of the art, but I did like the writing. The writing was fabulous. I said earlier this week that pretty much the three big things that this book had was history and alternate history, high concept science fiction, and World War II. And those are the three things I love the most. The only thing that I felt like this book was missing was a hole for me to put my dick in. And then it would have been a complete book.
That's why
Well,
you're
actually,
disappointed.
like, because Hickman aims to please, it's actually an interactive book. If you look at the cover, right, there's a circle in the middle which you can cut out, and then you can use it that way.
Oh, damn it. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
This
Quite
is the best book
optimistic in
ever.
terms of birth, but yeah, I thought it was a good book. I'm not really that much of a Hickman fan, to be honest. I tried reading Secret Warriors for a while, got bored of it, dropped it. Shield, I really wanted to like because everyone was saying it was the best comic ever, and tried it, and I was bored after the first issue and dropped it. And then everyone said, no, really, it's the best comic ever. So I thought, okay, I'll give it another go. Picked up issues 2 and 3, and it was just so slow. And on a bi-monthly schedule, I felt even slower. So I dropped it. But because Image has been on such a hot streak lately, I thought, well, this here's another issue, one, I'll give it a try. And I really liked it. I loved the concept of like all these real life scientists as a team of like, you know, Black Ops badasses. Albert Einstein.
Especially, yeah, Albert Einstein.
Yeah, going all Chuck Norris by the looks of it.
You don't fuck with Albert Einstein.
No, not with that moustache. And yeah, it was an interesting setup in terms of like the ending cliffhanger twist and the way it seems to be going forward. I'm definitely intrigued to keep on checking it out. So, and I actually quite liked the art of Nick Pitarra. So yeah, I'd say it was a win for me.
Yeah, one of the things, I mean, seriously, I say you should at least try to give it a shot because, you know, where else, you know, in comics are you going to see a book where you have J. Robert Oppenheimer having an evil twin, having, like you said, Albert Einstein obliterate samurai robots and have kamikazes, you know, hit the Department of Defense in Washington, D.C. during World War II. I can't think of any book that's ever existed that's been like that, so...
I just love some of the crazy lines in it as well. I'm just trying to find an example of one that made me go, yes, Dr. Seaborg and Mr. Macmillan are currently mining something called pan-dimensional space for the fringe materials we need to build our impossible machines of expansion. I mean, you don't get lines like that very often.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that meant, but it did sound awesome.
Yeah. While I haven't read the book yet, I flipped through it, and I actually liked the art. I don't know, like, it's weird. I'm not a fan of Frank Quitely, and you said it was kind of like his style, but because it's not a superhero, I can tolerate that style, you know? Mm-hmm. And also, for some reason, I find that I can tolerate odd styles much more in Image and Vertigo books. So, I don't know. I guess it's not because it's not a superhero, so I can tolerate it.
You're just a snob. That's what it is.
So moving on.
This art has way more lines in it. It's not clean. Yeah. It's like all jumbled, and there's a disconnect between the graphics on the front and the graphics interspersed with the actual art. And I was like, whatever.
I didn't realize you were an art critic. I'm sorry. Jesus.
I quite like the graphic design element. I thought it was interesting the way it broke up. So moving on, what do people think about Swamp Thing this month? It got the elusive 10 out of 10 rating on IGN, which is very rare, which was quite intriguing.
I thought it was pretty good. We finally got to see Swamp Thing in a Swamp Thing book, and that's always good. The story itself, I thought, was really like well done as like sort of a single issue. Like you didn't really need to read any of the past issues to know what was really going on. Even though you kind of did, it's just, I don't know, it felt like a one and done issue.
It seemed to like boil the kind of like core like themes and ideas that have been like brewing over the course of the entire series thus far, and kind of condensed them into a single issue that, you know, made it like a pure character study of Alec Holland and what he's sacrificing, who he is and who he's going to become. And it just seemed to be this was the real key issue of the series so far, which both closed the book on everything that's came before and set the stage for everything that's to come.
And also, it's good to see that they finally got Yannick Paquette back on the book.
Oh yeah, and it was worth the wait. Incredible full-page spreads, all these tableaus he's created. Just looks like a stunning book. He's very much following in the footsteps of people like Bernie Wrightson and Stephen Bissett, who were ahead of their time back when they worked in Swamp Thing. And again, he's carrying that torch of innovation and doing crazy things with his page layouts. And it works out very well.
Yeah, I liked it. It was probably I've liked just about every issue of Swamp Thing so far since it relaunched. But yeah, this is probably my favorite so far, just because, you know, it's been 6 months and we finally get to see the title character of the damn book, and he shows up. And you know, I know sometimes that's sort of, you have to storytelling, you have to build up, but yeah, it finally got some, feel like it got some forward traction, and it can hopefully go even further.
And it was a badass introduction as well. I mean, he grew fucking wings. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I wonder if like this version of Swamp Thing's gonna be a little different, instead of being more like a big, you know, plant Hulk. If he's going to be more sleeker, smaller, and can do more stuff than just, you know, what he could do beforehand.
So he
interesting
could like are you guys saying that in the issue he like manipulated his body?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
cool.
implies that.
It's
Be
really
honest, though,
awesome.
That's not exactly new. I mean, this is an interesting thing. They're saying this is Swamp Things you've never seen before. It's him as the Warrior King, but in the old Alan Moore stories, this was like the kind of like Swamp Thing that had supposedly not reached its full potential. The character pretty much became, you know, a god, where he could just like destroy his body and reform it somewhere else. You know, he could travel through space and time, you know, and it was really quite impossibly powerful. So it'll be interesting to see how they can make him seem even more formidable in this run now. So I'm definitely on board for what's ahead.
Scott Snyder's pretty much hitting it, just like with Batman, he's pretty much hitting this one out of the park, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
It looks like only me and Mercedes read Ferris. I'm not
No,
too
no,
surprised.
I read it.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
so there goes your little smug attitude, huh? I'm not surprised. We're the only ones that read it. Fuck you.
I felt so special for a minute there.
Well, no, I'm just so happy that I can talk about this book, because there's finally a Fables related book that I can talk about, because like I said in the past, I'm reading the trades of Fables because it's so good that I want only the trades, so I don't want to read the current book. So I'm keeping myself behind on purpose, which is stupid and OCD, but I love the book that much. But Ferris, it's weird because I'm not used to reading a single issue and then waiting, but the pacing was still good for me. I loved this book. The art was good. I liked the story with the little imp, the bottle imp, and Alibaba. This is gonna be an awesome title, I can tell.
It's really good. I enjoyed the first issue.
Yeah, this is the first time I've read anything Fables related since the only other thing I've read from Fables, which is the first issue, and that was back in, gosh, I think it was like 2006, maybe. So,
really?
Yeah. So this was a pleasant surprise. I really liked it. Like, it does a really good, clever spin on the whole Sleeping Beauty story, and
John, what was
What the
that?
fuck was that?
My TV just turned on. Had to turn it off.
It's just turned on.
It's just
I've got poltergeist in my house just going to pop on. I was like, what the hell?
I thought you were channeling the ghost of Susan Boyle.
I think my dog jumped on the remote and it's turned the TV on.
Time to put him down.
I already have. I just curb stomped him. That's what I was off doing. It's like, fuck you, dog.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Ferris #1. Like, this is like I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Is what I think I'm saying. Is
And that is the charm of Fables. Because when I first heard about Fables, I was like, what? That's the idea? That's the premise? Okay. And it blows you freaking away when you read into it. It's so good.
yeah, I'm gonna pick up the next issue for sure, and I'll probably start checking out old Fables stories as well.
You should. Definitely.
Yeah, right now I'm on volume 11 of Fables, and I am so excited. It's been so good. The lore, like, okay, guys, this is a bold statement, and it's completely true. I'm not trying to just, praise the book this much on the show. I like Fables so much, I can say hands down, it's my favorite book ever. Yes, I like it more than Aquaman in terms of mythos.
Holy shit.
Blasphemy.
Wow.
Oh,
Exactly.
Whoa.
For me, that is not easy to say for me, But it is my most. I can't think of anything else I enjoy more than Fables. The mythos is so good. I wish, oh gosh, if they could make a show with legit, like, budget, that would be amazing.
I
Sadly,
agree.
that show, whatever it was called, Happily Ever, no, it wasn't Happily Ever After, it was some kind of
Once upon
show.
a time.
Once Upon a Time pretty much killed the chance of a Fables TV show ever happening.
Once
I don't
is
think that's
okay,
true.
but once
Once is totally different than
yeah,
Fables.
it is. It's not
And-
at all similar.
And I wouldn't want Fables to be on a network television show anyway. I would prefer if they did it on, like, HBO or one of those channels, so they could invest the money in it and do, like, the art. And anyway, these are, yeah. So.
Well, yeah, because Fables is also pretty mature. Like, well, granted, it kind of waters out, but the first, like, 4 trades, there's lots of cursing and there's lots of tits and ass.
Is there
On
any
to the next
dicks?
book. No, you don't see any dicks.
Well,
Oh.
my interest is gone.
I guess we can go on to Animal Man, because I think everyone read that book, right?
Yep. I really liked Animal Man this month. I think Jeff Lemire really nailed the family dynamics really well this month. I loved the interaction with all the characters, and you get a sense it's a real family setup, which is one of the book's real strengths. And in terms of the art, we had a new artist coming on board. Travel Foreman had a little bit of art in it, but he kind of bowed out and gave the transition over to, I say new artist, but he's actually an old Animal Man artist who did it during the 90s, Steve Pugh. I don't know if he's any relation to Pepe Le, but
Oh my gosh.
That was a subtle joke.
That was very subtle.
That's a good one. But yeah, I thought it had a really great style. It seemed to fit in well with Travel Foreman's style. It was quite almost seamless, but it was still had enough kind of like of its own appeal. So yeah, I think the book's in good hands going forward. So I'm not really worried about the visual front. And the plot seems to be chugging along nicely.
I loved the scene where Cliff is talking to those 2 chicks. That is the best scene in the whole series. That is the best scene.
Because you think in a lot of like comics or like dramas, what they do with that scene would be the girls wouldn't believe him, and then Cliff would sulk for a few issues about how no one takes him seriously or something. But this one is kind of deflated that way. No, his dad's awesome,
Yeah. But yeah, the pacing of the issue, the pacing of the issue was good, but I have to say that just because of what last issue was, it's like I want this thing to move along faster, because the past 2 issues together, because of the past issue, the pacing feels off to me.
It is moving pretty slowly, but
Does someone want to tell Animal Man to get some clothes as well?
He seems to be only rocking the pants now. Every other scene.
I think
I just imagine, it seems like he's like graduate undressed. You just imagine like music. He takes off like tights next. He's gonna be wee speedo or something next issue. That's like a party boy dance.
I'm not complaining.
I think Matt and I both agreed about the issue. Was the only thing that wasn't really right was the transition with the art. Travel Foreman got to do the first, I think it was 3 pages, and he also got to do the last 3 pages. It was just like they're so distinctly different styles. They should have like given Travel Foreman the whole issue as kind of a send off, and then
or they should just let Steve Pugh take over, I think, and let him have the issue.
Either or, let
one,
like a whole one do one issue or whatever. But yeah, fuck you. You said it was seamless. No, it ain't. It ain't fucking seamless.
I
You
actually
need to get some new glasses.
Well,
I
obviously it's
actually
different
even
styles,
noticed the
but in
art
terms of
change.
like the vibe, I think it's pretty consistent. It doesn't
The
seem
vibe
like
was good because the color, the same color and shading style worked for both styles. So that's what I can see how it was kind of seamless because the color meshed well with both styles.
All I know is like one page Cliff looked normal, and the next page he like it's Down syndrome. So,
What?
Well, the only thing that has ever bothered me about Travel Foreman's art is the fact that they say in like one of the issues that Maxine is like 4 years old. Yeah, and
She's
she's
like
drawn
9.
yeah, she looks like she's 9, but in Steve
10.
Pugh's art, she looks more age.
Well, still not 4, but like 6 maybe.
Yeah.
when I was 4 years old, like, I wasn't given these big monologues, like delivering the exposition of the series. I was like, if I was just going, I like crayons.
Yummy, yummy in my tummy.
That's so funny though. I was actually around a 4-year-old today, and he said probably like all of 2 words the entire time.
Is it because you gagged them?
you child.
Well,
But yeah, I
I
actually
really can't comment on that due to liability.
Child Protective Services.
Yeah, I've actually pointed this out since issue 1, though, the fact that he draws her like she's like a 9-year-old or 10-year-old, not a 4-year-old, and she's written like she's like a 12-year-old.
Seem
But
to know an awful
it's
lot
still-
about children's ages. I'm kind of worried about you.
I was a kid. No, but like
That
I'm
was
just
Show us on the
Yeah.
doll where you
I
touch them.
used to be a child.
I used to be a child. No, I'm just saying like. Granted, I still enjoy the book, but yeah, I've noticed that since issue 1.
It's
So.
a common occurrence in comics that children are never drawn or taught the age they actually are supposed to be.
Yeah, because it's still kind of debatable. How convincing is it that Bruce Wayne, when he was 8 or 9 or whatever, had this like inspiration and drive? If he was like 12, then I can believe it. But 9 is still kind of questionable. But hey, it's Batman, so it's Batman.
It's not like he put on the bat suit at like age 9 and started beating up criminals.
I know. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Though that would be an awesome book.
Criminals are superstitious and cowardly lads. I want to kick them. So yeah, moving on. I guess all this talk of like kids is kind of like making our chat get screwed up. So we'll move on. Action Comics number 7. What did everyone think of this? Did anyone else read it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read
Is
it.
it in the present day now?
No,
No, it's still a flashback.
Oh wow.
I think issues 5 and 6 must have just been some kind of strange cheese dream I had. Because it seems to have just
Too much
picked up-
LSD.
That's Morrison for you. That's Morrison for you. Why are you surprised?
It seems to have picked up with issue right from where issue 4 left off, which is kind of strange.
It's Morrison for you. Why are you saying it's strange? You should be used to it by now.
Lots of strange stuff, but even though it's strange, it works within
No,
the
it
fabric.
doesn't.
This just-
How would you know? Do you read it, Sergio?
I'm talking about his work in general like that.
Well,
that
you
style.
can't just make baseless claims.
I'm
you
doing that right
motherfucker.
now.
No, you can't do that, you damn Mexican, you lazy ass Mexican. You can't just stereotype people. You hear me? Stereotyping is wrong, you spick.
This is gonna go down as like the greatest thing yet.
I'm sorry about that, Serge. I'm really sorry.
Why? I'm not Mexican. I don't care.
He's not Mexican.
This is probably gonna go down as like the best and the worst episode yet.
Depending on
works for
how
me.
twisted your heart is, yeah.
Sorry, I'm having fun with sound bites.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting issue of Action Comics. Because I was this close to just dropping right out. After the last couple of issues, I thought, right, I'm about ready to give up on Action Comics. I'm probably going to drop it.
Oh, wow.
But this issue kind of won me back. I think it seemed to get things back on track at last. There was a nice characterization of Lex Luthor. He was suitably bushy, and Superman was a great hero in it, rather than just being this kind of emo kid. So yeah, there was a lot to like about this issue, and it just kind of got me. It's kind of stayed the execution of this series for a while at least.
One thing I did find odd was how he got his suit in the actual issue. He's sitting there fighting Brainiac, and he sees this suit of armor. He's like, "Damn, that suit looks good," and he just stole it. And somehow or another, he puts it on, and
the origin of the suit that's been built up for months. Oh,
he
look,
stole it.
And what was it? It was black and white. They put it on. It kind of just changed into being the Superman suit. It was
I didn't really understand exactly how that works. But hey, alien stuff. Just don't worry about it.
In terms of Grant Morrison probably being kind of metaphorical, talking about how it's the black and white inks of the page and colours put into it, some kind of crap. But
he's neutral. He has no definition until he puts on the suit and he becomes Superman or something like that.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
I just think the only reason he put on the suit was to appease Morrison's snake god.
Actually, it's Alan Moore that has the snake god, not Morrison.
They have two competing snake gods.
Pray to?
But yeah, I thought it was quite an interesting issue. And we've talked a lot about the objectification of women in comics. This one had Superman constantly getting his clothes ripped off, so there's probably something for the female readers. If they didn't get enough, flesh and Animal Man, they could check out Action Comics.
So I mentioned a few weeks back when they announced what books were getting canceled that I was sad to see OMAC go. But OMAC number 7 is by far the worst and the weakest issue of the series, and it ends on 8. So I hope that 8 ends on a good note. I'm not going to really go into detail, but OMAC 7 sucked. And before, I was enjoying the series.
Yeah, nobody cares. It's obvious nobody cares because it gets canceled.
I'm going to take everything that Sergio just said and say it about Green Arrow.
You thief.
I just don't care enough to actually say it.
Yeah.
Everything about that series went wrong when he lost his moustache and his
good goatee.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to describe the last issue of Green Arrow. Like when Keith Giffen stepped in, it was actually kind of getting decent rather than just absolutely terrible. But then I don't know what happens. Like Andis Nonsetti, or however you pronounce that, just
You lost your thought there?
No, I'm
You're
looking at you guys
how
typing.
terrible it is.
Are we distracting you because we're talking about something?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice the writer. It's a female,
Yeah,
right?
focus. Stop having
She's
ADD.
a terrible writer. No wonder there are no female writers. They write terrible things like this.
There, you heard it there, folks. Feminism is dead.
She's the worst writer ever.
We're just gonna post that little quote from you every single time you try and talk about women in comics.
Very good.
I love women writers, but she's terrible. This is the worst issue ever. And it was and for her being a female, I would have never guessed, considering he slept with 3 girls who apparently share one brain or something. I was
What?
hey.
It's Ollie.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the writer slept with 3 girls. I was like, oh, that's hot.
That's kind of hot.
Maybe there is something to this female comic writer stuff. I'll give it another chance.
It doesn't matter if it's Ollie. It was just terribly written.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it starts off with him just monologuing to himself, and then all of a sudden, there's this random stuff that happens. It's even Grant Morrison would read this and be like, "This is too weird."
I don't know what the plot was.
So what
at
kind
all.
of narration are we talking about here?
Was he banging her while he was narrating?
No.
Yeah, I'm Green Lantern. Oh, Green Lantern.
He
So
starts
fucking
narrating-
hot,
Fucking this chick, and I'm awesome with my arrows and my mustache. I don't have a mustache. And oh look, something like that.
Okay,
No,
let me
he,
just say for a
He
minute.
probably uses green condoms.
I knew I'd have a use for this big boxing glove arrow. Open up.
Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
I think that was the first time in this show's history that all of us have talked over each other at the same time.
I didn't talk. I was quiet.
That was our version of the Power Rangers coming together to form the big super beast.
The Zord that doesn't shut up. Who else read Amazing Spider-Man?
I did. That was me.
Just you and I.
Yes, just as always. Once again, it's just you and I.
Hey man, I was gonna pick up a Marvel book, but I didn't pick it up yet.
So the Amazing Spider-Man came out this week. Is this the first issue of the Sinister Six arc?
No, that's
that's right.
next. Yes, next. But You know what? Let's just not just talk about it. Let's just save it for Dork Nights.
If you want to.
No.
Well, no, we can talk about it. We'll just say how.
I wasn't being serious.
Okay, good. Good, because I don't want to talk about no damn comic book on this show. We have sexual banner to get through.
Historical figures fighting each other.
Yeah, we have to do that. But yeah, it was pretty much. I mean, pretty much on par with the issue from last week. I mean, just the fact that it was a lot of fun. I mean, say what you will about Dan Slott, but he can write the hell out of Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that the issue came out a week ago. Like Marvel is really pushing some books like every week or every other week. It's ridiculous right now. The numbers up because of it.
They've got the biggest market share every month because they keep on spamming the market and making people buy it and go, look, we're beating DC in the market share.
Yeah, actually, the sales figures did come out today. I seen Marvel owns the market share, but DC still has the 10 best-selling books.
Yeah,
on the market, last.
Wasn't it Aquaman that beat all the Marvel books again?
Yep. Woohoo!
I think so. Or no,
You don't get to talk about Aquaman now. You admitted that Fables is better.
I just what so?
I just own you as an Aquaman fan.
Top 10, huh?
Different universes, all right. That's DC. That was Vertigo. So that's whatever.
Become Uncle Tom.
Aquaman feels betrayed. He's crying in the ocean. Saying, why do you?
The ocean is filled with his tears.
You can't cry underwater.
How do you know you ever tried? You can strangle someone underwater. I found that out.
But yeah, I basically agree with what you said about.
People did any other people want to mention?
I'm not gonna go into detail, but Stormwatch #7. I feel this series is getting better and better. Like, just a new artist, and it was fun. So
I agree. I enjoyed Stormwatch this. This issue is really good. I think my favorite one. I don't want to do spoilers. Huh?
I've got some weird lag in my computer, so when you talk, it's Birdman's little icon that flashes if it's Matt that's talking in your voice.
I know you're talking for Mercedes right now.
Matt is talking for John, and I think Sergio is talking for Mercedes. So I mean that's happened to me a couple of weeks at a time, and it doesn't bother me. So
that happens all the time. So how about we?
Everyone is right where they should be for mine.
Whatever you say, Matt.
But yeah, Stormwatch. I don't want to either, but the dude with the cities or whatever, I didn't realize he was so awesome until this issue. I want to know more about him. That was so cool.
Well, what I loved was one thing I'll say. I love that how Martian Manhunter was kind of being a mentor to the girl that has the powers where she can manipulate whatever the current physics is or some shit, science. That was really cool.
That was pretty cool. Except I don't like her for her. I'm just like too much, and I just skim.
I dropped Stormwatch after issue 6, after Paul Cornell left, pretty much, and it's typical. I've been waiting 6 issues for Jack Coxmore to do something. Apparently, the issue I didn't read is the one where he's doing stuff. What a shame. Other books, I read Fatale issue 3, which continues to develop nicely. The plot seems to be taking shape now. Don't want to go into much detail other than that if you've not been reading, but plenty of twists and turns, and the main character of Josephine seems to be even more dangerous than we first thought. If you like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, then you know what to expect. It's very good. And I also read Sweet Tooth was the 6th and final book I got, which, as I've said before, continues to be one of the more consistently great books out every month, and this is no different. Lots of tension, lots of good characterization, and Jeff Lemire shows he's as good at art as he is at writing. So yeah, if you like Handelman and you like Frankenstein, you should be reading Sweet Tooth as well, because it's probably still his best book.
I just want to give a quick mention of Uncanny X-Men, because I hadn't read it up until this week, and I breezed through all 8 issues. And let me just say that the most recent issue, Namor averts a crisis by literally having sex with a giant amphibian tentacled red monster. And it was the best. It was the best
So
thing
the-
ever.
Was
So
she
because
hot
that
at
monster
least?
just needed love.
Oh
Ooh,
no,
it
she
was-
was. It was monstrous. Like it was wrong, but it was
I
awesome.
can post a picture for you
That
guys.
sounds
You can see what it's talking about
fantastic.
1 second.
I actually want to see this panel. Is that messed up?
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Well, I'm actually watching it, you know, if it wants to say.
But yeah,
just keep going.
I mean, it's not the best X-Men book on the market. That would be Wolverine and the X-Men, but Uncanny X-Men is definitely a close second. I recommend.
Well,
It's by
my-
Kieran Gillen, so
there's actually one excellent book
I
that
like kidding.
there's one excellent book that I've been wanting to read because my brother gets it and everyone said amazing things. It's Uncanny X-Force. I'm surprised that none of you guys who dedicate to actually getting a Marvel book haven't read it, but I want to get around to it. It's just that so many books.
I'd like to read it. I don't want to start like it's not like
What's
what
the
25
deadline?
issues in.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to read it and I didn't like the art in it, which is kind of weird because I didn't like the art in Wolverine and the X-Men either. And ended up trying that out.
Is everyone looking at the picture I posted?
Oh
Is that why
my
it's-
gosh, that's
I-
so messed up.
I'm looking at it, and I think I will step away for a minute to masturbate. Bye bye.
It's like where are you going? What do you think? Oh, that's just messed up, dude.
Whoa, hello there.
It was.
Okay, this is
I
going. No.
I assure you, it was the best thing ever.
How did they even kiss? She doesn't have like any lips.
Well,
Like she's
well,
not doing anything.
well, later
He's
on in
doing
the
all the work.
later
Maybe
on
just
in the
that
issue,
big long
Namor
pencil
remarks
on the
that
face.
he has some goo on his upper lip. And he wipes it away.
Ew.
Seriously, man. You guys can knock Aquaman all you want. He would not do that shit. He
Well,
would
it
not
is
do
Namor.
That's exactly
I mean,
why I
the
like
guy runs
Namor
around
more
in
than
a
Aquaman.
mosquito.
Why? Because he tries to steal other man's woman and then he fucks a sea monster?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, I don't like Namor more than Aquaman, but
Okay.
And on
Moving on.
that note, I guess, since that's the sexual high point of the show, most likely, we should probably move on to our topic.
you don't know the show very well, do you?
wrong.
Fine, I won't tell you about the comics. You guys can discuss it or whatever.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about you, Mercedes. That because you're so rare here, I keep on forgetting you're around.
I call sexism.
Well, okay, women, tell us your comics.
Okay, well, I read Justice League Beyond, and I don't know, how many of you have been reading the Batman Beyond comics?
I have.
I thought Serge was reading. Okay, well, I don't have any. Has anyone been reading the Justice League Beyond ones? Because
I have.
I didn't read it this week yet, so.
I didn't
I
read
didn't
this
pick it
week's
up.
have
issue.
it.
I didn't pick it up yet.
Okay, well, you need to pick it up because it's awesome. I really like the Beyond comics just because they remind me of the television show, which is super nostalgic for me since I'm old. But it's a lot of fun. I find myself enjoying them a little bit more than the other Justice Leagues. And then I read Justice League International, and I don't know why that comic book is still being put out, since does anyone care if I spoil it? Because I don't think any of you guys read it.
Go ahead. I was wondering if I should pick it up or not, but apparently
I'm
not.
the only one. I'm the only one with lost causes. Well, it may get better because this issue they basically just like broke the team up, and they're not going to be aligned with the UN anymore apparently, and people may have died. So I'll be. And there was the last page of the issue had a huge shock to me because I didn't know that this particular character was going to be involved on the pages of Justice League International.
Who, Batwing?
Yeah, I had no idea.
I saw him on the cover, so.
What? Yeah, I didn't even look at the cover.
Wait, who?
Batwing's going to be on the team.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so I had no idea about that. I don't know. I'll probably pick up the next issue just to see what happens. But it seems, I don't know, the entire comic still feels really full, so you're not missing much.
Okay.
I'm the only one who continues to read the loser comics.
So that's where all the female readers are going.
I'm gonna punch you in the face. No, no, just me because I'm morbid like that.
Yeah. I've just happily punched myself in the face. I do, like, basically whenever I'm watching Glee, I'll just punch myself in the face over and over again as punishment for doing it. That'll make you stop believing, John.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
What about you, Alex? Do you want to tell us any more about the 127 comics you read this week?
No, to be honest, like, I mean, I liked pretty much every comic that I read except for Green Arrow. You guys should definitely check out Irredeemable and Incorruptible, which was...
I'm going to when the series ends. I was going to the trades.
Yeah.
All the trades.
Incorruptible is my favorite of those two.
Yeah, I have to say I do kind of prefer Incorruptible more, but Irredeemables, you can definitely tell that it's wrapping up because they kind of do something. They actually do something really twisted with the whole superhero, supervillain dynamic, and it's really good. I mean, it's Mark Waid, so it goes without saying. But
he's a really good writer.
Yeah, check those out.
You know, Mark Waid's a ginger, but he's alright.
Is he ginger? Is that why I like him so much?
Yeah. Yeah, he looks a little bit like Ron Howard.
Like a fatter Ron Howard. Like his brother or something.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. I love all of Wade's work. I've read all of them. Obviously the Legion stuff too.
So it's because he's ginger. And on that gingery note, let's move on to the topics. If that's okay this time, Mercy.
Yes, you may move on to the topics.
Okay, that's good. Are you sure?
I'm positive. I didn't read anything else.
Okay.
I just want
sure?
to say that I'm looking forward to when this is all edited and see what time Miss Mark is at, because this episode I'm like, you know, being laid back and we're just now getting to the discussion. Just saying.
I bet this show is about 15% more awesome for your lack of involvement. So,
We're all about to have
in
our
like 2 hours longer.
Yeah.
Continue.
It's not the only thing that's longer than yours. Okay, moving on to the topics. So, the story is David Mazzucchelli, the artist of Batman Year One, is unhappy with the new edition of the books, the new hardcover edition being released, and he wants people to boycott and not to buy it. Basically, a few years ago, he made a pretty definitive special edition of the book, which I've got. It's great, you know, it's all kind of faithfully restored, and it has great back matter, all, you know, kind of compiled by Mazzucchelli. And it's a great book, and for someone who's not really involved in mainstream comics anymore, it was kind of still quite respectful of like the medium, and it was kind of like nicely done by Mazzucchelli. And this new edition, apparently, it's all done on glossy paper, which it was never intended to look like, and it's all kind of day-glow, bright, digital colours, to make it apparently look more like the animated film that came out. And it's got like new digital lettering, which, you know, replaces the original letterer. And apparently Mazzucchelli wasn't consulted on any of this, and they tried to call DC to request changes. They ignored those calls and never answered them back. So he's quite furious about this new edition. He's telling people not to buy it. So I just guess my thoughts are like, you know, what are your thoughts on the pros and cons of making new editions of books? You know, if a book has been, you know, already released as a previous edition, you know, do you try and keep the creators in the loop, or do you just do what you want? What's your stance on it?
I can actually think of an instance where a creator's involvement was actually a bad thing, which was the more recent edition of Batman: The Killing Joke, where Brian Bolland got to recolor the whole story in the colors that he originally intended, and it just kind of messed it up for me because, you know, Batman: The Killing Joke has such this eerie vibe because it's so bright and pink and yellow, and it just has these weird colors that really make the story eerie, and it really contrasts really well with the Joker's psychological standpoint in the story. So I didn't really like the newer edition of that. So, but as far as Mazzucchelli's thing goes, his grievances are perfectly valid. I think DC dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
For-
it's
oh.
they're. I mean, it's not like they're just repackaging it again. They're physically changing his artwork. I mean, they're changing what one of the things that made the book so cool, and you kind of like Alex was saying with the Killing Joke, you kind of lose a lot of what makes that story great. And he drew it, and I think he should at least have a right to say, hey, don't do that. But I guess DC feels a little different.
I just think it's a shame that when a lot of stories right now and we do about creators from that era, that are feeling alienated by Marvel and DC, they have someone that was on good terms with the company and they kind of choose to cut him off and make him feel like he's not welcome and alienated. It's not a very good move. I mean, on the one side, I can understand the appeal of new editions. I've kind of got quite addicted to getting these deluxe hardcovers that they're releasing. I picked up all the Why the Last Man books and the Ex Machina books, and I picked up a couple of Starman volumes, and they're nice editions. And of course, the Swamp Thing as well. That's, I've collected all that in hardcover, and they're nice, classy editions. But there's a fine line between releasing old material, in a new format and tinkering with it until it's not the old material anymore. It's like the comic equivalent of George Lucas tinkering with the Star Wars movies,
Well, there's only one book that I can think of that I own where they did recolor it, but it wasn't a new edition of the trade. It was the first time ever putting the comic into trade, and this is the Aquaman Death of a Prince trade, where they took the Adventure Comics stuff from the 70s and they finally put into a trade. And what they did with that is that it's on glossy paper and everything is kind of more saturated and more bright and colorful. I don't know if they ever went to Jim Aparo or Neil Adams or any people that did the art for those books. I don't know if they ever said, hey, are you okay if we do this to the art? If they did and they were fine with it, then it's cool. But I was fine with the brightness. But if the artist is saying that, hey man, I don't appreciate you tinkering my art, then they should respect it. I feel like it's bad business ethic. You want to have a good relation with your all past and present writers and artists, because that way they can be potential future artists and writers to do more good work for you.
Yeah, I mean,
my thing too is how many times do you need to re-release this book? I have a special edition of Year One that I got right around the time Batman Begins came out, and there's a good chance that special edition is still in print somewhere. I mean, how often do you need to try to make money with these books? I mean, it's the same exact story with the same content in it. I mean, do you need to fuck with the artwork and to make it more streamlined to the actual the movie? No, you don't need to do that. You just want to do it so you can try to lure in those people who bought the movie and to make more money off them. And
it's
just,
all about making more money. That's the thing. They could obviously, I mean, Massacre did create this edition, which a lot has been kind of widely acclaimed. It's been called the definitive edition of the book. And DC could have happily kept on reprinting this and making new covers for it if they had to, making new editions of that version of the book and selling it to new audiences, for generations to come. Instead, they've taken that definitive edition out of print and they're releasing a new edition with new colouring and new whatever, which is a shame because it means that specifically, rather than trying to appeal to a wider audience, they're insulating themselves and appealing to the completist that already has that former edition but read the new edition because it's different,
What were you about to say, Alex?
Business.
Yeah, what were you about to say, Alex?
I actually lost my thought. I think it was
John sings again.
Yeah, I think I was about to say something about Year One. I think I own the edition that both I think Matt and John both own, the definitive edition. In fact, I own two versions of Year One, and that's the only time I've ever done that because I love the
You're
story.
such a chump.
But I also love the bonus content that they had in it. So I definitely agree. There wasn't a need for it. They're also doing a re-release of the Nightfall trades just to cash in on the Dark Knight Rises. And
Is it one big book though, or is it separate books?
separate books, and they're the same 3 volumes. So it's yeah.
How long has it been since it was last reprinted? Because it's been a while. I can kind of see that, but like I was saying, the fact that they deliberately took the other version of Year One out of print just so they could make more money is, that's what pisses me off.
Actually,
You
now I
need to understand, because when it first came out, the edition I've got of Nightfall is the original trade that first got released of that. And it was kind of a bare bones edition, just collecting the issues. If they released a new version that had like back matter and an introduction and concept art and stuff like that, I could maybe buy it.
I don't think it does.
Them then.
But what I was gonna say before I actually remembered it now, is that this situation kind of really doesn't bode well for DC, because it also brings up sort of the phantom topic that we've covered a couple of times already, is the Gary Friedrichs lawsuit with Marvel. It's like if Mazzucchelli was going to sue DC, it would definitely paint them in pretty much the same light, if it hasn't already, as that case with Marvel, I think. Because it's another case of just a company not really respecting talent that they had hired.
It's basically closing doors instead of keeping them open.
Yeah.
Mercedes, do you have anything to add?
I pretty much agree with everything you guys have said so far. I don't have any trade paperbacks that have been changed in any way, so...
You haven't felt their pain?
No, I haven't felt their pain at all. I feel kind of guilty now. I'm like, aw.
Empathize, woman, empathize with us.
Well, I do have to say that I'm one of those people that I would rather have an original trade paperback copy than buy a reprint, but that's just who I am. John actually said exactly what I was thinking at the beginning of the conversation when he compared it to George Lucas's many, many editions of Star Wars. A lot of times I think it's unnecessary to add things. You just go with the original.
Mm-hmm.
So that means...
Greedo shot first now.
Yeah.
The next is going to be fucking Jar Jar Binks shot first.
Ah, you joke. I was going to say Detective Jar Jar Binks shows
Is he
up.
going to die, Han?
Fuck you.
Next topic. Would you like to introduce the next topic, Sergio? Since you brought it up.
I'm taking it easy this episode, so no.
Wow,
Okay, we'll skip that topic then. Moving on then, we've got Matt. Would you like to introduce the topic that you introduced to us and brought up for this
What
week?
is it? I don't know what it is. What is it?
The new 52 idea you were talking about, the IGN.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, IGN did like a sort of like a report card. So far this month has been or not this month, but last month was the 6th month of the New 52 initiative, half a year. And so they got me thinking, what they did was they did a breakdown, book by book, like they gave a letter grade to every New 52 issue. And so I thought maybe we could do something similar to that and just not really grade each and every book because that would take way, way too long. But maybe like we each pick like 2 books out of the New 52 that one has been our favorite so far, one that we've been impressed with, and maybe one that we didn't like or one that disappointed us, and just go from there. So who wants to go first?
Mercedes thinks you go first. Ladies first.
What? Oh,
yeah, go ahead. Before
okay. 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 So I'm going to start with the one that I remember Bird mentioning because it came to me right off the top of the head. Was the one that I guess was the most disappointing one? Was that one of the? I don't remember the categories.
Most disappointing and the one you like the most. There's only 2 categories. How can you forget them? Jesus Christ.
I don't
This
know.
podcast started off so well.
Okay, so the one that's most disappointing to me because I expected a lot from it. Terrible. Because I expected a lot from it was Birds of Prey. I'd give it a 75.
So a D
we don't
or C plus or
yeah.
Do letters A, B, C, C minus, B
I don't
Yeah,
minus.
like doing letters. Letters are so harsh. They're so like definitive. If you do numbers, there's like more wiggle room.
No, because then people have to think about it.
That's even
Dang it!
yeah, that's
fine.
even less room.
I would give it a D. No wait, I would give it a C because it could pass in the future, but right now it's failing. So I'd give it a C. The one I'm most impressed with would be either, because this one is weird because it came out of, it's not a comic I usually read. I'd probably say it's a Swamp Thing.
Yes.
I've never read it before. Oh wait, well yeah, I would still go with Swamp Thing. I guess I would think about Aquaman, but I would Swamp Thing more because Swamp Thing is not a genre I would read at all. I've never been interested in like any of the Swamp Thing comics, and it's just I want the next comic every single month. I'd give it an A.
You have chosen wisely, Mercy.
Thank
you.
you.
Get to live.
You get to live another week.
Oh, okay.
In terms of my big winners, no surprise, I'll choose Batman, Swamp Thing, Animal Man.
It's
Those
only
books
one book.
are-
It's only
Just
one
one,
book.
just one.
It's one book. Don't
No.
cheat.
Keep it short,
Nope.
you Gabby motherfucker.
I only love
Batman.
time, Don. I had to
Batman
pick
is my
just one.
pick. If I had to choose one book that's the absolute best, I would say Batman. In terms of biggest disappointment, it's not the worst book of the New 52 I've read, but in terms of most disappointing, I would have to say Action Comics. I did a list on my blog ranking like the New 52 books I was most looking forward to, and Action Comics was number one. It's Grant Morrison writing Superman after writing All-Star Superman, which is one of my all-time favourite comics. My expectations were super high. It was the first book I read that week, and even that week alone, it ended up being the book I liked, fourth best after Swamp Thing, Animal Man, and even Batgirl. And in the months that's followed, I've liked it less and less. I know this month was a bit of a rebound. I'd still say it's been my biggest disappointment so far.
I would say my best, and this is simply because it is always the most consistently fun book that I read every month, and I'm never disappointed by it, is probably Demon Knights, which I give an A. I've never been into sword and sorcery books at all, and it's definitely not my genre by any stretch of the imagination, but Paul Cornell just manages to make it really accessible and really great, and he takes these high concepts and almost grounds them in a way in the realm of sword and sorcery. And also the art is fantastic by Diogenes Neves. So that definitely gets my pick. As far as biggest disappointment?
Yeah.
Biggest disappointment is probably Superman, which I give a D-. It has been the most consistently boring book of the New 52, and Superman himself is supposed to be one of the flagship, if not the flagship character of DC Comics. He deserves a book that's always consistently good, because even when everyone says that he's a boring character, I've always stuck up for him and said the contrary, that he is a very compelling character. And he needs a book that reflects that. Instead, you have a book that almost panders to the stereotype of Superman just being this idiotic, goes in guns a-blazing, never thinks of his actions, hero that's just, it's reading the comic is almost like watching paint dry. It's just not a really good comic, and I would have dropped it sooner, but they're changing writers, so I'm kind of waiting to see where it goes. But right now it's a D.
As for me, obviously, like everyone else, I'm looking at this as, okay, what book was I maybe hesitant about or not even thinking of picking up, and I picked up anyway. So obviously that rules out a lot of books, because when I was researching the New 52 before they came out, I was like, okay, this is a sure list. I'm definitely these are gonna be awesome. I know this is gonna be good. But then like a month before, I was like, okay, maybe I should check these books out too. And so right now, I'm trying to decide between Frankenstein and Wonder Woman because of the reactions I got in different ways. But I think in the end, I'll give it to Frankenstein only because while I've never cared to read a Wonder Woman book before, I've always been fine with the character. With Frankenstein, I was like, I saw it in Flashpoint, I was like, oh yeah, I'm not getting this. And when they announced it, I was like, oh, Frankenstein, yeah, I'm not getting this. But then a month before, I was like, okay, I'll check it out. The art looked cool and everything, and it just blew me away. I felt so good to be so wrong about my expectations for it. And so going in the other spectrum of that, other side of the spectrum, the book that disappointed me the most, let's see, I have to say Static Shock, because I always liked the idea of the character. I never cared for the old show. I never read the old comics, though. But I was really excited to see that Static Shock was coming to the New 52. I love this new design. I thought it was so badass. And I thought it would be cool because he's kind of like the Spider-Man of his old universe. So I thought he'd mesh in very well in DC. And the book just like went quickly. I dropped it after one issue. There's no other book that I dropped after one issue ever in the history of me being a fan of comics. So that was a real like hit to the heart, like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I have to. So
I guess for me, probably my biggest, my favorite book, I'll go with Animal Man just because of how it surprised me. With Swamp Thing, I figured Swamp Thing was going to be good because of Scott Snyder. I'd already read some of his work, and I was already a fan of it before I started reading Swamp Thing, so I kind of had the expectation, but I didn't know anything about Jeff Lemire or any of his writing before I started reading Animal Man, so that was a real pleasant surprise, and it's kept up the quality so far. And that'd probably be my pick so far. And my biggest disappointment would be Suicide Squad, because I wasn't really expecting the book to blow me away or be one of the best books of the New 52. I just expected it to be an enjoyable read, and so far 6 issues in, it really isn't that. And I don't know. They touted this book was supposed to fill the gap that Secret Six left when it was canceled, and it sorely hasn't done that. And it's just,
if anything, just makes you miss Secret Six more.
Yeah, it's just there. I mean, it's not doing anything great. I mean, all this stuff I've seen before, like in Secret Six and in John Ostrander's run of Suicide Squad in the 80s, and they were done nowhere near as well as. I mean, this Suicide Squad isn't doing it nowhere near as well as his is.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like someone taking your childhood and then just like raping it in the face.
That's that metaphor.
No, I'm saying because, like, for instance, like I know exactly how Matt feels because this is going off topic but on topic. I am a huge Street Fighter fan, and when that movie came out with Kristen Kruk and that guy playing Gen and that guy playing Charlie from American Pie, that movie just took my childhood and just raped it in the face. I was like, oh my gosh, why did you do this to me? I had to turn the movie off a few minutes in and walk away from the TV. Like, so I know exactly how Matt feels. Like I know he was so excited for how this would be because he's a huge fan of Ostrander, and I feel bad for him because this book really is just a pile of shit.
I didn't ask for your pity. You know that, right? I don't want any Hispanic pity thrown upon me.
Unclean.
It stinks. Unclean.
Unclean. So unclean.
We have quite a big, massive bundle of questions this night, so we'll try and fire through them. First question comes from Alex, because we're that sad to ask questions on our own podcast. He says, I got a question. How the fuck does Off-Panel Podcast have 30 likes when Dork Knights has 6? Someone's holding out, damn you. I can answer that question. It's because I had friends and I invited my friends and they joined, but you two don't have friends, so that's why.
All we need is each other. That's all we need.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of the podcast, really, is that all we need is us.
Yeah,
and
we're tuning in fighting
the rest
for
of you,
insanity.
And the rest of you all can go to hell.
And Mike Napier is interested in having Alex explain Cable's origin.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. Cable's origin.
Come on, we're waiting, Alex.
Think of
Get
the
to it. Come on. Snap,
think
snap.
of the Matrix, except more cyborgs and less Keanu Reeves, and I think that's basically Cable's origin.
Cool.
I feel like Cable's origins should be the other way around. Less cyborgs and more Keanu Reeves.
I heard it's a bit like, The Lion King, but with, more Liefeld art.
More pouches.
Matt Johnson asks, Mercedes, why are you so gay? Would you care to answer, Mercedes?
Because I like the female body.
Yeah.
Who does?
Mercedes asked in return, Matt, why did you paint your bedroom pink? So it could match his underwear, obviously.
It's my favorite thing, the color of cock. So of course I painted it pink.
Joe Mulvey asks us, his question is, why do you think 2012 has started off with such a creator-owned boom? We shall actually be talking about this in more depth next week, Joe, so tune in next week and we'll tell you a bit more.
Yeah, fuck you, Joe.
I won't allow it. So no.
Also, while we're talking about it, pick up Scam if you can. Scam number 1.
Yeah,
Or pirate it. Pirate it.
Scam.net. It is a great book. It's actually doing quite well on the torrent sites from what I hear. But you should buy it with your money. It's done really well and it's continued to do well, so check it out.
Yeah. I just want to say that hands down, out of all the guests we've had, Joel Moe is my favorite. So just saying TY for being on the show. Hope you can make it again.
Somewhere in the world, Ashley's story is giving you the finger.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say that Ashley was my favorite guest.
It's just like me and Joe had this understanding connection. It's like, I guess because we're both from New York or something, or I don't know, man. It was a bromance, man.
If talking was an Olympic sport, then Joe Mulvey would be cleaning up in 2012. He's, an awesome podcast guest. I always listen to shows that he shows up on. Great talker, great charismatic guy. We're all fans, Joe, so keep being awesome. Next question is from Stuart Piper. When was the last time Matt got to minge and he overcharged?
Let's see. I don't pay because I steal it.
Yeah. Not answer that. American translation, minge is pussy.
Yes, I kind of figured that.
Yeah, just.
I'm people Scottish slang. You ball bag.
We have some words for pussy. Gordon McLean, who is the much victimised Gordon McLean, who's had books stolen from him, but we don't want to talk anymore about illegal download, so we won't go into that. Gordon McLean asks, what do you think about the debate just now over whether comics should be more realistic? I think, I'm pretty much with Grant Morrison in this one, take a shot, where he says that, the comic books, people say to him, how the Cyclops' laser vision, how does that work? And his answer is, because he's not real.
That's probably my favorite quote from him.
Yeah, basically, little kids can watch The Little Mermaid and they can understand that, the talking fish isn't a real fish, and real fish don't talk, but that one can, and it's only us grown-ups to try and make sense of it and try and make it make sense. When it doesn't, it's fiction, it's suspension of disbelief. Does anyone else have any comments on that?
I think my stance of it has always been, okay, fantasy comic books, they're essentially escapism entertainment. They're not meant to be like our world. They're meant to be more entertaining than our world. So I don't think they should be more realistic. However, whenever a writer comes up with an explanation, no matter how far-fetched it is, I think it's always a cool little tidbit. They explain how for instance, Batman has, they explain in the comic books that Batman has night vision lenses in his cowl, and that's why they're always glowing in the darkness. And I thought that was always like a little tidbit, even though it paints this realistic interpretation of a man who goes out every night and beats up criminals dressed up like a bat. And so I respect like whenever there's an explanation given by a writer, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I agree with Alex, but more so, I think that to answer the question, comics should not be anything. Period. It should be whatever you want it to be, because then you lose so many genres if you're trying to define it. So people who think that it should be more realistic, I think that all you're doing is putting yourself in a box, because then you wouldn't have books like Tiny Titans. Like, where else are you going to book where Darkseid is not only a conqueror in one comic, but in another comic, he's the either the assistant principal or he's the cafeteria dude. Like, seriously, you're not going to have that. It should be whatever you want it to be. There should not be any kind of restrictions to how comics should be tone-wise or story-wise. It's fun. It's fun when writers do make things like, for instance, the only thing that I ever enjoyed Grant Morrison doing for Aquaman was that he kind of explained why Aquaman could do telepathy on non-marine people, non-marine animals, because of a certain membrane that they share in the brain. That was really cool. He'd have to do that, but like, it shouldn't be everything realistic. So I agree with Alex pretty much.
Yeah, you also brought up a good point in that comics aren't meant to be just a single tone. Like, not everything should be Christopher Nolan's Batman. Like, not everything should be Grant Morrison's, zany, crazy stuff. Like, diversity is the key in the comic books industry.
Right, moving on. Just checking this. Yeah. Okay, next question. Sam Reed asks, people have been waxing lyrical about Jeff Lemire's work on Animal Man and Sweet Tooth, but has anyone read his Frankenstein stuff? Well, yeah, we've been talking about Frankenstein quite a bit in shows. Yeah, I think we all do. We all enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it my best,
yeah.
most. I gave my favorite book of the 52 because it surprised me the most. So.
I like it, but it's just not my cup of tea. That's the only thing. Like, I like it perfectly fine, but
it wasn't.
I'll say to you, Sam.
Past, like, the first issue.
You guys suck.
Yeah.
It's
I'll say to you, Sam. Frankenstein's good, but if you like Jeff Lemire's work on Animal Man and Sweet Tooth, you should check out Essex County, which is Jeff Lemire's masterpiece. It's his best work. Seek it out. It's great. Essex County, it's called. Scott Kimball asks, why are you so gay? The answer is, fuck you, Kimball.
We don't answer Canadian.
Yes.
Well, that's what we do, but not.
Die. I hope you wake up one morning and you pull up a note and you think, what's that strange sensation? And you pull back your bed sheets and fire ants are gnawing on your testicles. Someone comes, oh fuck, it's fire ants, and tries to put water on them, but it's actually acid and it melts your nuts. I would piss on you if you were on fire, but only if I'd been drinking gasoline the day before. I get ass cancer. I hope you get AIDS in the face. I hope your toes rot and fall off, and then it attracts some kind of like mutant grizzly bear that's attracted to rotten meat, and it eats you as well, and then it shits you out, and then someone takes your shit and makes it into some kind of fertilizer that's rubbed on Rick Santorum's ass.
You lost it there.
Yeah, I get lost that. Just want to say that Scott Kimball, you're a prick. Die. Scott Kimball also asks, has anyone been reading IDW's new Transformer stuff? Have you guys?
I actually went to Scott on Facebook saying, "Hey man, I wanted to check out some of IDW's Transformer stuff," and he told me what I guess you could say wave to check out, because they have different kind of continuities, like different series or different continuities or some shit. And so I did buy the first trade, Infiltration, for that series, and it was okay, but I guess I expected to see more of the robots that I know, so I haven't continued yet, but I plan to.
Yeah, last week I actually looked into the IDW Transformer series. I didn't read any of it, but I was looking at it on Wikipedia to see what to pick up, and it seems like the robots that I know from the series, like Optimus and Bumblebee, and all the mainstays of the Transformers universe, it seems like they're pulling the focus away from them. So I don't really know how to feel about that.
So yeah, fair enough. Thanks for the question, Scott. I hope you get framed for a crime you didn't commit in prison. Sam Reed also asks, it's not really a question, it's just a statement. He says the OMAC crossover was poor, and is OMAC an acronym for Please Cancel Me, I'm Rubbish in American?
Yeah, the OMAC crossover was pretty poor only because it was the same thing in both issues. It would have been better if it was more different. So I feel him there. That was kind of an odd crossover. Like, it was basically the same thing twice.
And the next question was, Ashley Story saying, I'm too late. No, I had a good vagina-related one as well. I'll have to save it. I missed one from Sam saying, sorry, Mercedes just leaving us because she's got a life. The bitch.
How dare she?
And
You're
Vietnamese
just
food
jealous.
waiting. Just food waiting for her.
I do have food waiting for me. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Sam Reed says, sorry about all the cues tonight. Oh, sorry's not good enough. I hope you're happy. Anyone reading Greg Rucka's Punisher?
Yeah, right here.
I mean, me and Alex have been reading it. I mean, does this guy fucking listen to us?
I know, come on,
He must-
Sam.
No,
You're a
it
fan,
means-
are you?
Yeah, he's a new listener then. There you go. So.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
motherfucker.
Definitely, Greg
Fuck you.
Rucka's Punisher is, like, now that Jason Aaron stopped writing Punisher Max, it's the best Punisher title. Well, it's the only Punisher title, but it's still the best.
To me, Ruckus Punch has been like one of the top 3 or 4 Marvel books that they've been putting out over the last few months. So, yeah.
Along with Wade's Daredevil, so it's going to be cool
Yeah, Wade's
when
Daredevil, yeah.
so it's going to be cool when they do the crossover. And what is it, like the next couple of weeks with Spider-Man?
I think it's sometime next month. I think is when they started. It's supposed to be in April, I think.
Yeah, Wade, Rucka are both doing a crossover to Spider-Man, Daredevil, and the Punisher. So I can't wait for that.
So.
And what else we got? Okay, Ashley Stories delivered her promised vagina question. She says, who would look better with a vagina? Breasts optional. Christian Bale, Andrew Garfield, or the late Christopher Reeve? I'm probably going to have to go with Andrew Garfield because he kind of almost looks like a girl, and I could, and Ashley helpfully posted a slightly creepy picture of Andrew Garfield's face superimposed over a woman's body, and that's on the Off-Panel Podcast Facebook page. You can find it. And I did look at it, and first I was horrified, and I thought, I'd maybe tap that. So I definitely wouldn't want Christian Bale because Christian Bale has one of those kind of like rugged, pointy faces where it'd be kind of terrifying if you imagine there was a woman. Can you imagine? Right, you're in a library.
Well,
right?
the thing is that after that outburst that he had against that dude that stepped in front of his lights, I can honestly say that maybe he does have one.
But can you imagine this, right? Where you're in let's say it's a library or a bar or some place, and you see a woman sitting with big long legs and they're reading a magazine or something, their face is covered and you're looking at their legs and you got their body, and then they took down the magazine and it's Christian Bale's face and he goes,
Wow, right there.
Where are the dogs going? That would fucking terrify you. Put you off women for life.
Now I'd be kind of turned on.
I think are we all doing this?
Yeah, we're all
Yes.
Okay, if I had to pick, I'd say Christopher Reeve. He's the most of a pretty boy out of those 3. It would help though if they all have really, 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 really big jugs. That would help forget it,
So what you're saying is Sergio is a necrophiliac.
That actually ties into. I had a similar question. If I chose Christopher Reeve, would he still be paralyzed? Because if he was paralyzed, I would go for it if he was paralyzed.
Oh my gosh, so bad.
That's how he likes his women, just to lie there.
Dude, yeah, I like my women paralyzed from the neck down. They can't put up a fight.
So messed up. Oh my god.
All you need to do is like put like a cotton ball in the mouth and that's it. It's done.
Oh,
You just imagine, like, you know, that might Steve, because obviously still a chance to do it with Stephen Hawking if you want, you know. He's still alive.
I'm just go to
What
England
are you
now.
doing? Don't put that there. No, please leave me alone. Help, help. You're hurting me.
No,
Ah,
no.
he's typing it during.
Yeah. I'm good with my fingers. Ah,
Wow. Well, this
I
got
just
dark.
came.
Correct. It got dark then.
It's like, was it good for you too?
Oh, no. Cry, cry, cry. I am crying. And so on and so forth. And on that note, we've got through all our questions on this epic podcast recording tonight. So we've already lost a member who died while we were recording. So on that note, it's time to say goodbye.
I'm gonna
So-
plug one thing real quick.
No, you can't.
Jesus, you
This
too.
is my show. In the show notes, we're gonna
Your
put an
show.
awesome.
Wait.
What?
Your show.
Yes.
Your show.
Yes.
Golly, you getting all possessive, man.
Okay.
You know what? Just for this, I'm gonna edit it. So we'll see whose show it is.
All right, so we're gonna put in the show notes another awesome YouTube clip for you listeners. It's the link to a fan created pretty cool fight between Superman and Hulk. It's in 3D animation and everything. It's pretty cool. The part 2 is better than part 1, but we're gonna give it a little treat for you guys. So now you can conclude.
Oh, now you want to talk about your little video?
No, I'm not gonna do the whole. No, I was gonna do a whole topic with it, but I didn't feel like working tonight, so.
Yeah.
Lazy Mexican.
And on that note, you've been listening to the Off-Panel Podcast. Join us next week where we have a circle jerk. You've been joined tonight by Sergio Martinez.
Good night and good luck. Oh.
What? Pause for it.
Alex Campbell.
Burn in hell, Martinez.
Matt Johnson.
Fuck off. Bye.
And I've been John Lees. Good night and good luck. Hello and welcome. Sorry.
Good evening.
Take 2. Hello and welcome to Curtain Enthusiasts Weekly, the podcast where the curtains really do match the drapes. I'm your host, Gustav von Spunkenberger, and I'm joined tonight by Herbert Newton Waffle Goffle McWaffle Waff III,
Oi!
Jeremiah Juicypants,
Hi.
Hard Gay Newt Gingrich,
Fuck yeah, what's going on?
and we do...
So racist.
You're not going to say hello? No, she's not.
Sorry.
So, what's everyone's
so funny.
curtain-related news been this week?
I fucked a bunch of curtains, but that's about it.
Yeah. Damn you! I think that I was going to say you spoiled my joke.
That's right.
In this case. Okay, we'll start again.
No.
Leave it. Leave it.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit that at the beginning regardless.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Off-Panel Podcast, the comic show where the tensions are high, and so are the hosts. Shit, look at my hands!